Hi guys, welcome back to Reserved Investments on YouTube. Since Nintendo seems to be epically engaging in mass-produced scarcity, I didn't want to be outdone. So for those of you that are interested, I have only one of these because these are quite rare. This is the I Heart Nintendo limited edition Timmy S. Poindexter Wii U Special Edition console. And this console, this one right here, because there's only one like it in the world, can be yours for $249.98. That includes free shipping to wherever you are in the world. Now, unfortunately, there's no hookups. There's no controller. You just get the console, and I know it looks like somebody, maybe a little bit ethically challenged, decided to just write this out on a piece of paper and tape it to the console. I assure you, that's not the case. This is a limited run exclusive from employee 666, who works for Nintendo of America. And he decided to do one special edition run of this particular console to sell it to all the other Timmies out there, because they'll pay a premium for anything, judging by what's going on right now in the modern era video game collectibles marketplace. So all kidding aside, that's what we're going to talk about in this video. And if you don't know what I'm alluding to, it would appear that Nintendo has finally revealed what we already knew, that Super Mario 3D All-Stars is coming, and it will be on the market literally within the next week or two. So September 18th, 2020, the game is released, and it's going to retail for $59.99. Now, I have no problem with this game. I have no problem with the retail price of this game. The game includes 3 classic Super Mario 3D games. You get Super Mario 64, which, to be fair, has been released before on the Nintendo DS and also on the Virtual Console for the Wii and the Wii U platform. Then you get the gem of the collection, Super Mario Sunshine, which up until this point was a Nintendo GameCube exclusive. It's nice to see that they did re-release it for the Nintendo Switch. It's going to be interesting to see what happens to the price of the GameCube version now that this game is readily going to be available for $59.99 with 2 other Mario games to boot for play on the Nintendo Switch. The third and final game they chose to put in this compilation is Super Mario Galaxy, which, to be fair, it's a great Mario game, but again, it's really not up to par with the rarity or scarcity of Super Mario Sunshine. You can go online right now, even on eBay, and you can get a factory sealed copy of Super Mario Galaxy if you want the Nintendo Selects version for rather fairly cheaply. It's not going to break the bank. But for $59.99, getting all 3 of those games is a steal. I don't deny that. My problem is the way that Nintendo is choosing to market this. Nintendo is choosing to pull a limited run stunt with the release of this particular game. Well, what do I mean by that? Well, if you watch the Nintendo Direct that came out that announced this product, and of course, what we're also going to talk about in this video, the Game & Watch Super Mario Bros. Edition unit that's going to be sold in November for $49.99, one of the things that should have caught your ears is the fact that the physical release of Super Mario 3D All-Stars is only going to be on store shelves for a limited time. They claim it's going to be available for roughly 5 months. It's going to be available up until, I think, February or March, if I remember correctly. And I have a problem with that. I really do, because it's almost like Nintendo is telling you, if you don't buy this game in the next 5 or 6 months, it's not going to be around anymore. And knowing Nintendo, I don't think that's true at all, guys. I'm going to be very honest. Now, I'm not saying Nintendo is going to re-release this again for the Nintendo Switch, but we all know how a lot of these products work. If we look at the original Super Mario All-Stars that premiered on the Super Nintendo, that got a re-release in limited edition form in the Nintendo Wii. Then later, they re-released it again as part of the Nintendo Selects line. So what I'm saying is, I don't think Nintendo went to the trouble to dust off these collection of games, put them in this format, and is stating, you know what, we're only going to allow the retail version to be on store shelves for roughly 4, 5, 6 months. I think what's most likely going to happen, if there's a follow-up console after the Switch, even if it's like a Switch HD version, they're going to re-release this same game again and allow you to buy it. Now, to be fair, I could be wrong on that. Nintendo really is gung-ho, believe it or not, about getting into the digital-only marketplace. You can see that kind of happening with some of their other releases that are eShop exclusives. They're not as bad as Microsoft. Microsoft's really already in that direction. They're not as bad as Sony. Sony's heading in that direction too. But Nintendo is slowly adopting to an online-only future. You can see it with some of their products. Well, this really got me thinking as to why Nintendo would do such a thing in this regard, in regards to Super Mario 3D All-Stars. Let me explain. In my opinion, it would have made more sense for Nintendo to release a limited edition version of this game and then just have the regular version out there for anybody who wants to buy it, rather than stating it's only going to be available for X number of months. Whenever Nintendo does that, it backfires on them. Remember the disaster that was the NES Classic Edition console? Even when the Super NES Classic Edition console came out, Nintendo had to up the production numbers because parents, enthusiasts, collectors, gamers were all ticked off at Nintendo because they couldn't get their hands on an original NES Classic Edition console when they first premiered. There were people paying a premium for them on eBay. Now, I'm not going to get into that in this video. What I am going to say, I don't understand where Nintendo's head is in regards to releasing this item in this manner. I think they would have been better off releasing a limited edition version of this and then having the regular release out there just like any other game. And let's be honest, the shelf life of most Nintendo games, it's only several years at best with popular titles. Nintendo does discontinue games. They have done it before in the past. They do it regularly. Well, they could have done the same thing with this. Instead, they're putting out this gimmick where, well, you got to buy the retail release within 5 or 6 months because then it's going to disappear. I just don't understand the purpose. I could understand this better if they were packaging this with a Nintendo Switch console and they had like a 35th anniversary edition Nintendo Switch with this game, and the only way that you could get this game at present time would be to buy that console. Then I would understand quite better. But I just have a problem with the way that Nintendo is marketing this. It just seems too slimy, too gimmicky for me. It's almost like I'm dealing with a limited run release of a Nintendo game. And I don't like that. If I'm going to deal with a limited run release, I want to get it from limited run games, strictly limited games, and know in advance it's an item that is so esoteric that it was digital format only that they're now releasing physically. So if I want a physical copy, I have to buy it in the release window. It just feels really weird with Nintendo handling the marketing of this game like this, knowing that pretty much anybody who has a Switch is going to want a copy. Let's be honest. You get 3 classic Nintendo Mario games, one of which is selling for close to $100. That's never been released before. Most people are going to want the physical version of this. So now we're going to get to the meat and potatoes that everybody's reaching out asking me about. Sean, is this something that's going to go up in value? Should I buy 5, 10, 15 copies? Well, first, please don't buy 5, 10, 15 copies. As I've said before, I don't think this is going to remain that exclusive. I think something else is in the works, just like Nintendo backpedaled on other things that they released and said that they were only releasing in limited quantities. Even all the Nintendo amiibos, most of the amiibos, not all of them, but most, have been re-released multiple times. I don't see this item as something that's just going to dry up after 5 or 6 months and then completely disappear. Now, I could be wrong on that. Believe me, I could be wrong. But I don't think it's something that everybody needs to rush out and buy on September 18th to the point where no one else can get a copy. I think Nintendo is playing it cautious because, in all honesty, one of the things that crossed my mind about this, and now that we're 9 minutes into the video, I can state this because nobody's watching at this point. Most people already shut the video off thinking that this is just a rant. I think one of the things that's going through their mind, what happens if COVID, the pandemic, rears its ugly head again and they have to shut down production? Well, now that they offered this item as a limited run exclusive for only the next couple of months, they can cut the production on it early, and it's really not going to affect them if they can't produce more of these games because of the pandemic makes a resurgence. So that's something that really caught my attention when I was really analyzing this deeply. I think that's one of the reasons why Nintendo is going in this direction. I still think it's a disaster overall. The other item I do want to talk about is the Super Mario Brothers Game & Watch edition for $49.99. I do see a lot of people going after that. I think Nintendo knows it's not going to be a massively popular, mega-selling item. So I just want to warn you guys, if you do want the Game & Watch Super Mario Brothers Edition unit, you're probably going to have to pre-order that, because I honestly think Nintendo is going to cut production on that item just because most people out there are not going to pay $50 just to be able to play Super Mario Brothers again. Most people are viewing that as a gimmick for collectors, speculators, and hardcore enthusiasts. The average person, when they see the price of that, they're going to go, well, gee, I can get a Nintendo Switch for $199. You can literally get a Nintendo 2DS system with what? Super Mario Kart or one of those games built in for $79.99. So most people, like most parents, most people who are just casual Nintendo enthusiasts, are most likely not going to pay $50 just to get a Game & Watch system that has Mario built into it. Now, a lot of people are asking me, is that something good to speculate on? Well, I can see it selling for a small premium. Do I think it's going to go to the moon? No. Both these items, let's talk realistically here. This is mass-produced scarcity. There's nothing organic collectible in these items and the way they're being marketed. I've said this before. I said this about the Nintendo NES Classic. I said this about the Super NES Classic. So if you're going to go after these items, get them because you want to own them. The thing I will state is the Game & Watch system probably is going to allow some profit. If you want to flip it, if you want to keep it for a little bit and sell it later, you might be able to make a little bit more money on that. I don't see that happening right now with Super Mario 3D All-Stars, but that could change. Nintendo could very well stick to their guns this time and release this game in limited quantities to the point where 2 years out, people want this game and they're paying $100 for it in the secondary market. I could see that happening just for the fact that they included Super Mario Sunshine on this package. So it is something to keep your mind and eyes on. It'll be interesting to see how these markets develop. Overall, though, I am a little bit upset with how Nintendo is going about marketing these products, especially while we're in the midst of a pandemic. And also, we are in the month of September. Christmas holiday shopping season is going to start within the next month, month and a half. So it's going to create a lot of frustration for parents, gamers, collectors, enthusiasts, and the like. Hope you got something out of this. Please let me know in the comment section below. If you do want your very own I Heart Nintendo limited edition Timmy S. Poindexter Wii U special edition console, please let me know in the comment section. And I will do my best to rush you this item for the low price of $249.98. Not 99 cents, 98 cents. And guys, before you chew me up in the comment section for that, know that I'm kidding. This is my own Nintendo Wii U system. It's not for sale. Thanks, guys.